If there's one thing I've learned, it's that heartbreak doesn't kill you. Betrayal does. When my ex, let's call him Ryan, decided to betray me in the most cliché way possible, I didn't just sit back and cry into my pillow. No. I sharpened my claws, pulled myself together, and wrote him a symphony of karma with myself as the conductor. This is the story of how I turned my pain into the kind of revenge people dream about. Ryan and I had been together for almost 5 years. We met in grad school, the kind of whirlwind romance that felt like the beginning of a movie. He was charming, ambitious, and he knew how to make me laugh until my stomach hurt. I thought we were partners in every sense of the word, from late-night study sessions to dreaming about our future house. We even started looking at rings at one point. He met my family, who adored him, and I met his, who welcomed me like their own. If love was a picture, ours looked perfect. But behind that picture was a man who was a walking red flag factory, and I was too blinded by loyalty to see it. The cracks started small. Late nights at work, phone calls he'd step out to take, sudden weekends away with vague explanations. I asked questions, but he always had answers ready, polished and convincing. "I'm just busy," he'd say. "You're overthinking," he'd add with a kiss to my forehead. And because I trusted him, I swallowed my doubts. Mistake number 1. The truth didn't explode all at once. It trickled out in fragments until it drowned me. The first sign was a receipt I found in his jacket pocket. Dinner for 2 at a fancy steakhouse on a night he told me he was working late. I wanted to believe it was business, but the waiter had scribbled a note at the bottom. "See you two lovebirds again soon." That was the moment the pit in my stomach solidified into certainty. I wasn't paranoid. I was being played. I didn't confront him immediately. Instead, I did what any betrayed woman with a streak of dramatic flair would do. I collected evidence. I became the detective in my own heartbreak saga. I went through phone records, checked social media tags, and pieced together his lies like a jigsaw puzzle. And sure enough, there she was, a coworker named Leela, the new hire he had mentioned once in passing. Their texts were disgusting, flirty, intimate, and dripping with plans that didn't involve me. She wasn't just a fling. She was a full-blown second relationship. The rage that boiled inside me could have burned cities. But instead of burning down mine, I decided to burn his. The first step was simple. Make him feel safe. I pretended I knew nothing, smiled when he came home, kissed him when he left. He thought he was untouchable, skating on the ice of my ignorance. Meanwhile, I was building the perfect storm. I started with the financials. Ryan and I shared a joint account for bills, but everything else was separate. Still, he relied on me heavily. I was the one managing rent payments, utilities, and even some of his credit card bills because he claimed he was too busy to stay on top of it. Cute. That meant I had all the logins, all the access. Before you freak out, I didn't do anything illegal, but I did make sure he was fully cut off. A few strategic calls to the bank, and suddenly he was on his own. Rent? On him. Utilities? Good luck. Credit card bills? Hope Leela's worth it, champ. Then I moved on to the social sphere. Ryan loved his image. He was the golden boy at work, the charming boyfriend in our friend group, the one who had it all. So I made sure everyone knew what he really had. I compiled the screenshots of his texts with Leela, the receipts, the photos of them together. I didn't blast it on social media. No, that would have been messy. Instead, I curated it into a neat little folder labeled Ryan's Truth and distributed it quietly to the right people. His boss got a copy. His mom, who always praised him as the perfect son, got a copy. Our mutual friends, especially the ones who always teased me about being too good for him, oh, they definitely got copies. I didn't need to scream. The whispers did the work for me. The piece de resistance was the breakup itself. I didn't just dump him. I staged it like a performance. I invited him to dinner at the same steakhouse where he'd taken Leela. He walked in, smug and unbothered, thinking we were about to have some romantic evening. Instead, I had already reserved a large table and invited several of our closest mutual friends. When he sat down, confused, I slid the folder across the table and said, "Why don't you tell them what you've been up to?" His face drained of color faster than a cheap tie-dye shirt in the wash. He stammered, tried to deny, but the evidence was ironclad. Our friends looked at him like he was something scraped off the bottom of a shoe. One by one, they got up and left. And then I did too. He chased me out, begging for forgiveness, swearing it meant nothing. I turned to him and with the kind of calm that only comes from pure clarity said, "You didn't just lose me tonight. You lost everything." Then I walked away, heels clicking on the pavement like punctuation marks. The aftermath was delicious. Ryan's golden boy reputation at work shattered. His boss didn't fire him outright, but he was quietly sidelined, his projects reassigned. Word got around the office about his affair with Leela, and suddenly, people stopped respecting him. Leela herself dumped him not long after because apparently cheaters aren't exactly boyfriend material. His friends distanced themselves, and even his family stopped defending him when they saw the truth in black and white. Meanwhile, I thrived. I cut my hair, got a promotion at work, started traveling again. I posted myself pictures of living my best life, not in a "look at me, I'm over it" way, but in a genuine "I'm finally free" way. People noticed. I noticed. My life without Ryan was lighter, brighter, and fuller. I had been carrying the weight of a man who didn't deserve me, and the moment I let him go, everything else began to flourish. Every once in a while, Ryan tries to crawl back into my life. Late-night texts about how he misses what we had, long emails about how he made the biggest mistake of his life. The last time he sent one, I didn't even reply. I just forwarded it to his mom with the subject line, "Your perfect son, still lying." Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. Do I regret the time I spent with him? No, because if I hadn't been with Ryan, I wouldn't have learned just how strong I could be. I wouldn't have discovered the power of staying quiet while building my revenge. And I wouldn't have had the satisfaction of watching him crumble under the weight of his own lies. He thought he was untouchable, but I reminded him that everyone bleeds when the truth cuts deep enough. So here's the moral, wrapped in a bow. Never underestimate someone who's been betrayed. We don't just heal, we rebuild. And sometimes, if we're lucky, we get to dance on the ashes of the empire you tried to build on our backs. That's not just revenge, that's poetry.